Now let's talk just a moment about projects and solutions. Now, Visual Studio automatically provides two containers for you to help you efficiently manage all the pieces and parts that are going to be required by whatever application is that you're developing. Now, when you look in Visual Studio, and here's a little screenshot of Visual Studio, the Solution Explorer is usually in the default layout up there in the upper right-hand corner. And you'll even notice it says Solution Explorer in the title bar, right? Well, if you dig into that a little closer, you're going to notice that these two items are the solutions and projects, okay? And so a solution folder is represented here, and then it's kind of in a tree format. So here's the solution. In this instance, it was Windows Forms Application 1. And notice it has one project in it, and the one project is this bolded item, the Windows Forms application. And you can see here that you have these little triangles for expansion and collapsing these, and so you can see what's inside each one of these. So you can very easily expand and collapse and make it easier for you to read. Now you can have multiple projects within a solution, and you can right click on solution and create a new project and add it and create references back and forth between them. Now each of these containers hold various items. They hold, like you see in our example here, references. You may see data connections out here. You'll see folders. You can create your own folders and organize your items however you would like. You'll see individual files. As you can see, this Windows Forms application project has a class file that we've created. A class 1 file has a form1.cs, and it has some other files out there as well. Now, solutions contain items you need in order to create your application, like one or more projects. You'll see files and metadata that are designed to help define the solution as a whole. Now, Visual Studio automatically generates the solution whenever you create a new project. And Visual Studio stores the definition for a solution in two files. Now, I pointed out in the Visual Studio tour that when you create a new project, there's a little checkbox down there, and you can choose to have each solution stored in its own directory. And if you go out there and open one of those directories, you will see one of these two files, a .sln file for solution and a .suo. Now, you may not always see the SUO file out there. Why not? Well, let's talk about exactly what is stored, or what's the purpose of this SLN and SUO solutions file. The .sln file is the main one, and this contains the projects that are associated with the solution. Now, build a little project out there, kind of like my little Hello World thing. Save it, close it out, and then go out there and look in the folder. And if you go into the SLN, you will see files that you can right-click and open with Notepad, and you can look around in there. Now, be careful, because you don't want to change certain aspects, but you can get to some of these things and edit them outside the Visual Studio environment. That's a little bit kind of an advanced deal, but be careful, but just know that it is possible. Now, the .sln file will also contain any items that are not associated with a particular project. So all that stuff's going to kind of go in the SLN file, and then the build configurations that determine which project configurations apply in each type of build are also stored out there. Because we have a lot of options when we're building, we can build individual projects, we can exclude projects from the build, and all sorts of things. Now, the .suo file is kind of a metadata file, and it's metadata that's used to customize the IDE, the Integrated Development Environment, or Visual Studio, whenever the solution is active. So again, you may not always see files out there in that particular folder or in that particular file itself. Now, projects are used in a solution to logically manage, build, and debug the items that actually make up your application. A better way to say that is the output of a project is usually an executable program when you build it, a dynamic link library file or a DLL, a module or other type files that you can create that, depending on how you're building it, that a project turns into. So the bottom line is, if you have two projects, you can generate two executable files and they can interact. So that's kind of the bottom line on projects and solutions. You'll see these a lot as we go through here, but I want you to understand exactly what's going on in these things.